Hello, welcome. You're listening and watching Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio. I'm Andrew, your co-host, and your regular host, Jeremy, is not here today. Where is he? He's just not here. And today, instead, I'm joined by a good guest friend of the show, Victor and Craig. And today, the three of us are going to be discussing martial arts for non-martial artists. What is that? Well, you're going to have to stick around and find out. But before we get into the topic, I want to tell you a little bit about what we do. Here at Whistlekick, everything we do is in support of traditional martial arts. Our job is to connect, educate, and entertain traditional martial artists of the world. How do we do that? Well, we do that in a number of ways. We've got this podcast, which we're connecting people, educating, having fun. We also have a store. You can go and visit and purchase anything from sparring gear, events, training programs, books, all sorts of stuff. While you're there, if you do decide to purchase something, you can use the code podcast15 and save yourself 15% on anything that we've got in the store. You also, if you want to support us, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. And you can support us for as low as $2 a month. And you get access to behind the scenes stuff. You can you can support us at a higher level and get more stuff. The more you give us, we're going to throw so much stuff at you, whether it's extra episodes or free merchandise as well. Victor and Craig, thanks for being here, guys. Victor, how are you doing today?
I am doing all right. I got some coffee. I have been in martial arts mindset mode since I woke up at 7 and a little before 7 this morning. So I'm ready. I'm ready
Awesome.
to discuss.
All right, Craig, how are you doing today?
I'm excited, man. I get to hang out with you. I get to hang out with Victor. This is fun. I enjoy chatting with you guys, so I'm excited.
Awesome. So we're here to discuss martial arts for non-martial artists. And we're like, well, what does that mean? Like, if you're a non-martial artist, well, what does martial arts entail for you? And so one of the thoughts was, how can we use this platform right now? Right, we're Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio. People listening right now are probably martial artists, but maybe we could do an episode that they can then share with their non-martial arts friends that might help them get involved in martial arts. So, Craig, let me start with you. You have a school yourself that you run a couple of schools. I'm sure you talk with new people coming in all the time. What are some things that you kind of discuss with them when they come in about what they're going to get by being involved in martial arts?
Well, I think that the thing that I always talk about with people who are thinking about training is to first kind of come to an understanding. Why do you want to train? Do you want to just have fun? Did you see a really cool action movie and now you want to be like that action hero? Or do you have a very specific goal? And any of those reasons are okay. It's also perfectly okay to not have a reason and just try it. Right? Like that's one of the things that we encourage people to do is just give it a shot. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to spend an hour moving your body. That's not a bad thing. Right? Like, but to me, the biggest thing that I try to get people to understand is that when you join a martial arts school, if it's run properly, it is one of the strongest and most beneficial communities you can join, in that you are filled in a social circle with people who are going to support you in your goals, regardless of what they are.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. Victor, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of kind of the thoughts that Craig was talking about, it's so important, I find, whenever I'm talking to anybody, to get to their why. Martial arts, it's something that we do together, obviously, and there is that camaraderie. One of the two people that I talk to on a daily basis religiously, one of them is family, the other one of them is a guy that I met training with, that we don't live anywhere near each other, but we still talk almost every day. Like, that community was built and it's strong. But even so, our journeys are our own. And because of that, to find someone's like individual why, like, what are you looking for? You know, do you want to physically build up your body to make yourself stronger? Do you want to learn how to defend yourself? You know, those are the big ones that people think about. But then there are other things that people don't think about. Like, I just had a conversation with some of my younger students a couple weeks ago because they kia in class, right? And it's like they just barely breathe out. And I'm like, guys, the biggest tool that you're gonna have in life is your voice. Your voice is everything. If you can't yell in a room when given permission, surrounded by people that you trust, how are you going to use your voice to lay down the law, or use your voice to tell a stranger that something is you know, the unacceptable behavior, or tell someone to go, like, how are you going to just use your voice in a way to not command a presence, because not everybody's going to be in that position, but to assert yourself in society, you know, and not be this very soft-spoken person. The other thing that I use is, when I was in Florida, I taught in a lot of different fitness industry stuff. I worked at a couple different gyms and things, and like, unless you're crazy and working out by lifting heavy things is like super fun to you, most people have to be tricked into doing something healthy for them. That's why things like jazzercise and Pilates and oh my gosh, there was Zumba, right? All of those dance, dance till you sweat your butt off things exist. You know, we have to trick ourselves into a healthier lifestyle, and martial arts is a great way to do that, because there's some things like forms work up such a sweat when you do them right. When it's something that you can shut your brain off and you can just run through a form, it's such a good cardio, even to just drill the same movements over and over and over again, that by the time you're done, you're drenched and you're like, wow, that was a better workout than, if I had gone for a run.
Yeah. No, I dig it. And, just 2 weeks ago, we released an episode on, finding your martial arts family, and that community aspect, Victor, that you mentioned, is for sure a huge benefit that most people, before they start martial arts, don't necessarily think that they're going to find, right? And when you get involved, you realize that even though outside of the dojo or the dojang or your school, you might not have as much in common with these people as some of your other friends, just that combined training together can add a lot. And one of the other things that I have often found people don't realize, they don't realize that they learn and pick up as a skill from training, it's the ability to fall. Like, how many people in their day-to-day life, at least us in New England, and when I say us, I mean Craig and I. Victor, I know you're not in New England, but in New England, we get snow and rain and ice, and we fall down. It just happens. And your ability to fall and not hurt yourself is such a huge benefit. And I've had people that have, or actually, we had someone who was riding a bicycle, and something happened on their bicycle, like the bicycle malfunctioned itself, and they fell over, but were able to roll out of it. And they mostly were able to do that because they knew how to fall properly. So, like, I think falling is a great skill that people don't realize that they're going to pick up, that they do end up picking up. Craig, what are some others? Anything that students often learn, but they don't realize they're learning? What's another benefit there?
Well, just kind of like to tie in both points, right? Like Victor said, the key ups at the beginning, right? Like, how are you ever going to assert yourself? The longer form of that could go into, how are you going to carry yourself at a job interview or a college admission interview? How are you going to carry yourself when it's time to ask your boss for a raise? I've had adult students come into the karate school and say, I got a promotion. It's because of you. Like, it's because of what you guys taught us. So it's not only that a physical confrontation or a fight, but it's just life's fight, right? It's just things are going to come up. And when you get to a point where you have to repair your car and it's $1,000 bill and you're scrambling and you feel like you fell down, martial arts teaches you to get back up. So it's not just about fighting or punching and kicking and that it's about having another outlet, an avenue to explore your mental and your emotional acumen as well, and continue to enhance that. And I think that's important. The other thing that I always try to remember is that martial arts is probably one of the most versatile activities somebody can get involved with. If you love learning history, plenty there. If you love acting, learn how to stunt fight. If you love music, learn the pattern and the beats of rhythms and mitt work. No matter what you love, if you love art and expression, do your katas, express yourself through them. No matter what other interest and passion you have, you can tie it into the martial arts in some avenue and use it to enhance your passion.
That's a great point. The other thing that and I'm going to throw it over to you here, Victor, in a second, but in relating to that as well, Craig, I've often said that there are very few hobbies that you can do when you are 8 and you can also continue to do when you're 88. Your martial arts training might change. The way you train in your 20s is probably going to be different from the way you trained when you were 8. And the way you trained in your 20s is going to be different from the way you trained in your 60s. But you still can get involved in martial arts in every stage of your life. And there are very few, to my knowledge, hobbies that you can do that with, which is pretty cool. Victor, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting that you don't even realize the skill sets that you're building on. Like you mentioned music. I have 2 sisters who played instruments all growing up, older sisters. I never played an instrument. I did martial arts. But as I got older in college, I remember someone was telling me that I had a really good sense of rhythm. And they're like, well, what instrument do you play? I was like, I don't play an instrument, but like I know timing from fighting. And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, because I always, and like I like to mix it up. Like when I do my own circuit trainings, I don't generally like work a heavy bag to like workout music. I like to play a little Brahms. I like to play like really mellow acoustic guitar sometimes just to like mess with my brain.
Oh, wow.
But you do pick up those, those things. The other thing I was going to say is we have these buzzwords, I think, in martial arts that mean something to a martial artist. Like you learn discipline, you learn confidence, you learn focus. But to a non-martial artist who doesn't understand the context of those things, the application to it outside of their life may not so much apply, or at least not, they can't make the connections in their brain. And so one of the things that I think about that you gain, again, through osmosis without even realizing it, is you gain an ability once you do any type of art, even boxing. I've noticed this with boxers that I've worked with, and when I trained with my uncle, is you gain the ability to prioritize the things that are within your control better. And that's a life skill that is not like taught. Like it's not like prioritizing things you control 101. Like normally we only think about that life skill when we have extreme anxiety and have to go, to therapy, or to have to go and talk to someone about it because it's so bad. But I used to teach a boxing clinic at a community center for free, and I used to always use this example of when you're in the ring fighting someone, it's like a really distilled version of the world, right? The ring is your world, and there's 2 people in it, you and your opponent. Who do you control in that situation? Yourself. Everything the other person does is completely out of your control. Don't worry about it. worry about what you can control. And that skill in and of itself I find myself having it in some shape or form with people, both students and non-students, in and out of the dojo constantly in my daily basis. Someone, has strong emotional reaction to something and we're getting really upset. I'm like, okay, stop. Is how this person treated you in your control? No. What you can control is how you respond. You don't have to respond right now. Breathe, take a moment, take a beat. Now respond. And it's something that has come so naturally to me, but didn't come naturally to me. It's just I've been training for so long that I don't realize that I've instilled it within myself to have a very martial arts response to everything that happens emotionally outside. And to be centered is another buzzword, but that's really what it is that you're centering yourself on the things that are within your ability to manipulate and control rather than stressing about all of these outside factors. And that's something everyone needs and everyone can use.
Yeah. Yep, that's a great point. And it's not something that you anticipate when you're like, oh, I'm going to learn karate and I'm going to gain this. It's not something you think of. It's just, it happens innately. Whether your instructor might not work deliberately to make that happen, but it happens. It's one of those just inherent things. Craig, anything else you can think of?
I have noticed or tend to notice that martial artists who focus a lot on teaching or a business or something like that they're running, they tend to be a bit more fearless in certain ways. They're not afraid to face an adversity or to struggle or to really, I guess grit would be the word I would use. Like, oh, this is really not working out as quick as I'd hoped. And they stick it out. And to go, to echo the buzzwords, they use their perseverance, right, to stick through. But I think that, that's not exclusive to martial arts, but it's definitely a benefit that happens, right? Like, if you're in the ring and you're fighting someone, well, it's a 2-minute round, right? Like, you've got to stick it out the 2 minutes. That's the goal. And no matter how hard it is, you've got to fight through it. And if you can apply that same mindset to other parts of life, that's a great thing. I travel a lot, and sometimes I travel with people who haven't trained or aren't comfortable in the realm of spatial awareness and things like that. I'm pretty confident no matter where I travel because I'm going to make the right choice on where I'm going anyway, as far as, oh, hey, this neighborhood I've heard is really, really shady. I'm probably not going to go for a midnight stroll down it. Right. But also anticipating and being aware of what's happening around me. It leads to that confidence of, being out and about in a place maybe I don't necessarily know and finding my way and being safe by following my instincts that have been trained in me over all these years.
Yeah. That spatial awareness part, I think, is a big one. And people often talk of that in terms of like sitting with, your back is not to the door, so you can always see the door. And yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for that. But I also see it just in terms of my spatial awareness. Like, I can maneuver and move my body in a way that I know how it's going to move, right? I know where the edge of my hand is in a way that some people don't, and I don't, not necessarily that don't train. Maybe they're involved in other, people can learn these skills in other ways, whether it's gymnastics or dance movement things. But understanding just how your body moves in general is another skill that I think we pick up by training, because we move our body in so many different ways, and so that, there's another added benefit as well. Um, Victor, are we missing anything? Is there anything we haven't gotten to or touched on?
I'm gonna go back, Andrew, to the thing that you said about what other hobbies can you do at age 8 and at age 80, because it just now, as we were talking, sparked this thought in my brain that if you train for long enough, and depending on the style and the school that you're in, how that is, when this starts rank wise, which is a whole nother conversation, is different. I know in my school, it was this whole point to a yellow belt. You know more than that white belt. Go help him with what he's learning. You know, you having to teach the same thing to any number of different people, learning to explain the same technique, but altering it for different body types, for different age maturities, for different mental maturity, is incredibly useful out in the non-martial arts world. I remember there was a time where I was teaching, and I was also a substitute teacher in public education. And boy, my martial arts experience, like teaching and assisting my instructor in teaching, vastly helped me with handling classrooms, and vice versa, because those experiences were bleeding together so much to the point where I have 20 kids in a room, be it martial arts floor or be it a classroom. Each one of those 20 kids is a different perspective on the world, and they're all feeling and experiencing the same moment 20 different ways. So how do I unify that experience to keep everyone on point? Be it we're doing this one drill, or be it we're learning this one subject. And that skill I've carried through, because how many times do you have to hear the same thing, but then someone says the same thing differently, and now you understand it? So just that having to practice, how do I say this thing, but differently so that this person can understand me? That's immensely useful, I find.
That's a great point. I remember as a high school student having to teach the adult class, which, as a high school, I think a lot of schools, their adult class will include high school students, but I'm teaching adults, in their 40s and 50s when I was in high school. And when I became an adult in my 20s, 30s, I would have employees that would work for me that were in their 50s and 60s that were much older than me, but I was used to working with people of vastly different age ranges. And so you're right, there's another added benefit that you can gain from being involved in martial arts. Craig, have we missed anything else?
Not that I can think of, but I do want to just call back, Andrew, what you said about and how to move your body and like walking and stuff. I have literally watched you walk through the most crowded spaces in a Comic-Con ever, and like no problem. You actually taught me how to maneuver, which was awesome. So when you said that, it just dawned on me of our whistlekick Comic-Con trips.
I remember there was one time in training where two of my martial arts dojo brothers and we literally took a train during Christmas time to New York City, to Times Square, specifically for that reason. We played a game where we walked at the same moderate speed and we weren't allowed to stop, and the first person to bump into someone lost.
Cool.
I love it.
Well, Craig, Victor, thank you so much for joining me here and joining us. The audience gets to hear your thoughts too. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So much fun.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. If you guys have listening or watching have any thoughts, anything that you gleaned, or maybe there's things we missed, let us know. You can contact me at Andrew at whistlekickmartialartsradio.com. Even though Jeremy's not here today, you can always contact him at jeremy at whistlekick.com. Feel free to check out the website whistlekickmartialartsradio.com. There you can find show notes for every episode. Sometimes there's extra photos or links to things. There's also transcripts. Maybe you heard an episode and you couldn't remember which one it was. You can go in and search all through those transcripts and find that episode you're looking for. You can also check out our store where you can purchase any number of items, whether it's sparring gear or events. See what events we have going on, what stuff we have coming up. If you do purchase something, use the code podcast15. Save yourself 15% on anything that you find there. And I think we're going to wrap it up. So we can try and all three of us do this together. We'll see how it goes. Until next time, train hard,
Train hard,
smile, and have a great
smile,
day.
And have a great day.